What's up, y'all? This is Trav from WeGotBeats.com, and today I just want to do another beat making video using Vinyl Treats Volume 2 sample pack. You can get Volume 1 and Volume 2 off my website. Go to WeGotBeats.com, enter your email, and it'll be sent to your email. So I got a sample loaded up right here, and we'll take a listen to it. Yeah, so I really like that. It's nice and soulful. It's got the saxophones and trumpets and strings. I really like that sample. If you want those soulful Japanese style library record type samples, you definitely want to pick up Vinyl Treats Volume 1 and Volume 2. So what I think I'm going to do now is I want to speed this up 4 semitones. So we'll come to pitch shift, choose 4. Yeah. And since this is all original and easy to clear, I'm not going to worry about chopping it up. If I was on my MPC, I'd probably do something, incredible. But I think for this beat, I want to keep it nice and simple and just a loop. So choose loop. Make sure the downbeats are good. So we got a nice clean loop. We'll drag this into the playlist and come over here and just do this with each part. So another clean loop, we'll drag that in. Another clean loop. And time for the last one. Alright, so we got 4 loops here. We'll come to Slice X, turn that off, and let's see how this sounds. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do some tweaking in the channel sampler, but first, let's listen to the song. Turn this up to like 160, I think. Actually, I kind of like the way it sounded right there. Come to auto. Well, hold on. I kind of like the way it sounded before. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I like that. And we're gonna start listening for some drums. What I think I want to do is I want to choose this drill kick. Yeah, this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the SliceX channel into the mixer and route all the samples to that channel. And we're going to turn this down a little bit so we can hear the drums. And we're going to loop this hook part right here, go to pattern 1, and we're going to start messing with the drums. I'm going to start with the kick, come down to C5, mess with the grid a little bit. Turn on the metronome. Mess with the velocities a little bit. I want to get rid of that. So I like how this is sounding. And I think I want a snare, and we're gonna come to the low bap cooking soul kit, and we're gonna go to snares and listen for a snare. I think I like that. Mess with the start time a little bit. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to select all that, come to the 1/6 step, and put it a little forward of the beat. Turn the velocities up. Turn off the metronome. Yeah, like this. We need a hi-hat though. Or maybe a bell. Yeah, I think that bell would be nice. Hold on. Let me turn up the octave on my MIDI keyboard. Maybe not that. Let me listen. Maybe this hi-hat would be better. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so what I like to do with my hi-hats is I'm going to come over to record. I got my MIDI keyboard set up. I'm going to choose none. Or, well, you know what? We'll choose 16th notes. And I'm just going to let the... I'm going to humanize the hi-hats so they're not going to fall completely on beat. So... I think that would be good. Maybe have to mess with this first one. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to choose none, and then notes and automation. Listen to that. There we go. And I think I want an open hi-hat. And put it on this. Maybe this one. Yeah, that's it. And I think it would be nice if we put a shaker in it. Yeah, like that. Okay, so let me put the drums in for the entire length of this section we got and listen to what we have. Yeah, I like this beat. Some nice boom bap shit. Alright, so I like what we got. I'm debating on whether or not to put another bass line in it or keep it with the sample bass. In order for me to do that, though, I need to kind of get a basic sequence of this beat out. So I want to, you know what? I'm just going to drop it right on the hook. I'm not even going to allow an intro. I'm just going to, just that. And then we'll take, since this is our verse part, do I want to, yeah, I think I want to take this in part, copy that twice, and then we'll have a 16-bar hook, 8-bar verse. I mean, God damn it, an 8-bar hook and a 16-bar verse. So let's listen to what we have. It's some real feel-good shit. Yeah, I think this is good. Just have this go for the last 8 bar of the verse. Alright, so now that I have a basic beat here, what I want to come down and do is I'm going to separate all the drums onto their own track. So we'll come to pattern 2. That will be our snare. And then hi-hat. And actually, I think I'm going to leave the open hi-hat on this channel too. And then my shakers. And we're going to put this down right here. And we'll copy and paste this all the way through. just like this. And do the last 8 bars. And we're going to start putting everything into their individual mixer channels. And we're going to decide from there whether or not I want to use the sample bass or if I want to make my own bass line on top of it. So let's listen to what we have. Actually, we're going to do some gain staging at this point. We're going to turn everything down. Everything is going to get turned down. And we're going to start with the sample. And like I said in my previous videos, I want to keep that about -9. And of course, you season it to taste, you know, whatever sounds good in your ear. But a good rule of thumb, what I found best, your sample needs to be about -9. And now we're going to do the kick. And I'm going to make that about -6, maybe a little bit. Yeah, right there. And then the snare. Yeah, that might be good. And then the hi-hat. Open hi-hat. Shakers. Turn that up a little bit. Yeah, I think I like that. Alright, so for me to fully decide and commit whether or not I want to use the sample bass, is I'm going to come over here to an empty channel, make it bass, change the color of it. I like this light blue. And then I'm going to, on slot 1, choose the parametric EQ. And then I have a preset that rolls everything off except above 100 hertz. So it's going to filter out that bass line. We're going to connect the sample to this channel. And then we're going to choose our bass mono, and then choose my bass preset, which is just boosting up 35 hertz, and you can season this to taste. We're gonna listen to it and see what we got. Actually, I really like the sound of that. Yeah, that's actually hitting nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come to the parametric EQ on the sample. I'm going to choose this, which just kind of boosts the top end and ducks 100 hertz so that the kick can shine through. Yeah, I like that. And now we're going to choose the EV2 SSL compressor. And I'm going to choose my preset, which is the sample preset. And what this is doing is basically limiting the sample, and I have the threshold about 0 and a little bit longer release, and I did some EQing right here. I like that. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do after that is I really want to make this like a 12-bit boom bap beat. Now on my MPC, it's a lot easier for me to do that, but I looked online and I found a nice free bit crusher called the Tal Bit Crusher. It's for free. I'll leave a link to it in the video description so you can download it, but I really like the way this sounds. The only problem I have with this plugin is that it's a little too small, and you can't make it bigger, but other than that, I think it sounds pretty good. Yeah. And now we're going to come to the bass. And I'm going to choose this EV2 mono. And we're going to compress the bass a little bit. And I'm going to come over here to the bit crusher again. Nice. Yeah, that sounds really nice. Okay, so for the kick, I'm going to come over here to the parametric EQ again. And I'm going to choose my kick preset, which is boosting that 100 hertz. So we ducked it on the sample and bass, but we're boosting that a little bit, about 1 dB so that the kick can shine through right there. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to come to the DBX 160 mono, and this is really going to make your drums hit. See? And that's going to get you just a little bit below 0 dB. And now we're going to do that with the snare. Choose the mono. Nice. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to come to the bit crusher again on the kick. Nice. And notice this ducked it a little bit. And now for the snare, we're going to do the same thing. And for the hi-hat, open hi-hat and shaker. So I'm really liking how this beat sounds. Let's listen to it. It's got that nice gritty 12-bit warm feeling. Okay, so I'm really liking the way this sounds. What I want to do next is I need to glue the drums and bass together. So I'm going to come to an empty channel and call it Paracomp, parallel compression. We'll choose red. And then what I'm going to do is on slot 2, I'm going to come to the Pewtech EQ. And I have a preset for parallel compression, which is boosting that 100 hertz and that 12 kilohertz. And then we're going to come to the R compressor stereo. And this is basically just limiting the drums right there. So we're going to come to the bass, select all of our drums, right click, route to this track, and we're going to kind of tuck it in. Yeah, that sounds nice. And I think for the last 4 bars of the verse, we're going to drop out the snare right here. And we're not going to bring it in till about right here. And then we're going to take the drums and sample off. And then I'm going to put like a reverb going into the hook again. Yeah, that's going to be nice. So we're going to copy and paste this. We're going to copy and paste that. And then we're going to zoom back into the end of that verse. And we're going to select these 2 bars. The end bar of the verse and the first bar of the hook. And then we're going to come to our mixer. Go to the snare channel. And I think I'm going to move that down. The bit crusher down. And we're going to choose the Fruity Reverb 2. And I have a preset here called Snare Verb, which is basically just my rendition of the venue. You can all I really did was boost the high cut and the low cut. So if you want that same thing that I'm going for here, that's really all you need to do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute that channel, create an automation clip so that everything is at 0, and then I'm going to make my automation points right here until the snare comes back in on the hook. So let's listen. Nice. I like that. So let's highlight everything. We'll take the reverb and we'll put it on the end of the second verse. And I think what we're going to do is make it a 3 hook 2 verse song with an 8 bar outro. That's what I'm thinking this is going to be nice with. So we'll take that off, select the last 8 bars for the outro, come over here to the master channel and create automation clip, and we're just gonna fade that out. Alright, so we're gonna take it to the beginning and we're gonna start processing the master bus. Now, one thing I want to say before I start doing that is, if you're going to use the Bit Crusher plugin and you're rendering out, you know, stems, track outs for your beats to sell them, you want to put the Bit Crusher on the individual channels. No matter how many channels there are, you need to put them on the individual tracks, so that way the Bit Crusher stays on the stems themselves instead of just all on the master bus. So I hope that makes sense. Let's start processing the master channel, the mix bus, the master bus, whatever. We're gonna come to Fruity Parametric EQ, and I have one called Master, a preset called Master, and it's just rolling off that 20 hertz and the 20 kilohertz, you know, just the major highs and low lows. And then we're gonna come to slot 2 and we're gonna choose the SSL comp, and we're gonna come to the Dave Pensado 1 preset, get rid of the analog, and let's listen. Yeah, I like this. And then L1 limiter, out ceiling, 0.1, auto release. And then we're gonna load up the meter. And I like to keep my beats about -12 to -8. So I think we can push this a little bit. Yeah, that's gonna be good. Maybe one more. Yeah. I think I want to turn the snare down just a little bit. I'm gonna boost a little bit of the mids on the sample. Just to give it a little bit more body. Check my meter again. Alright, so that's the beat. I hope you enjoyed this beat making video. If you want these samples, if you want the sample I just used, plus 12 more, go ahead and go to my website, WeGotBeats.com. Vinyl Treats Volume 1 and Volume 2 are available for free. All you gotta do is put your email address in, and a link will be sent to your email for you to download instantly. So I hope you like this video, guys, and take care.